Hello and welcome to Global Market Bulletin TV. In today's feature, executive interview, we have our guest Geert Kersten of CEL-SCI Corporation. Mr. Kersten, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about the company for those who are not familiar with your work?
Oh, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. That's the first thing I should say. We started with the idea that we have to do better in the treatment of cancer. So what we said is you have to use the immune system. By now, everybody agrees. Then we said you have to activate the immune system to fight the cancer before it's destroyed by surgery, radiation, chemo. For the longest time, people said it was a dumb idea, which I never understood. Now they all agree. So we are now at the end of a 30-year journey, a 10-year clinical trial, one of the largest ever done. And we have very good data proving that this concept works out. And by the way, it's not toxic.
Very interesting. Now, recently you announced that CEL-SCI's Multikine reduced 5-year death rate from 54% to 22% in phase 3 study patients who are early tumor responders prior to any standard of care treatment. Not only that, but 5 patients had no tumor left following a 3-week treatment of CEL-SCI's investigational drug Multikine. This was from an ESMO presentation. The team also presented earlier this year at ASCO. Can you share with us how those presentations were received by oncology professionals around the world?
Look, it's very simple. So short answer, extremely well. Okay, and people are hoping that this drug will be developed for other cancers also, such as breast, melanoma, cervical, and many others. This is not a cancer drug. This is an immune system drug. It works with your body to recognize that there's cancer. See, the problem is you have a healthy immune system, but your immune system cannot see the tumor. The tumor shields itself, makes itself invisible. We help the immune system realize that there is a tumor. Also, let me summarize very quickly here what we saw. It's a 10-year study. And I, by the way, recommend you never do a 10-year study. It's too long, okay?
Oh, yeah.
I've raised $500 million. So this 10-year study has a 5-year survival benefit. That's huge in a disease where no one in decades has produced a survival benefit. So it's a clear unmet medical need. But what's even more interesting, you always seek to drill down, well, who gets the most benefit? Well, there are some people whose tumors actually disappear. And now comes another surprising thing, in 3 weeks. We're only allowed to treat for 3 weeks because we come right after diagnosis. Before you do your surgery, you're not allowed to delay the surgery because it's known that if your surgery is delayed, the outcome is worse. In 3 weeks, all tumor gone, including lymph nodes. In one case, 30 lymph nodes, no tumor, which is important because if there's any tumor left in your lymph nodes, not good. So also, we have a certain percentage, pretty high percentage of patients who have a tumor shrinkage. Now, most people think that if the tumor shrinks, you're going to live. Studies actually show that's not true. Most studies fail to show that correlation. The tumor shrinks, we think you live longer. The answer is actually no, except in our study, which with amazing statistics, so you can really rely on it. We're showing that if you have a tumor shrinkage, you will live much, much longer. That's where your 22% death rate with our drug comes from, 54% death rate for the people who don't get our drug. So I'm a simplistic person, okay? Which group would you like to be in, the 22% death rate or the 54% death rate? Indeed. So you can say, well, was the study big enough? Yes, it's the largest study ever done in head and neck cancer, the 5th biggest cancer in the world. Almost 1,000 people. Check. Oh, maybe it wasn't long enough. It's 10 years, guys. What else could you possibly want? The world needs to be pushed for change. But how can you not? And no one's ever said this doesn't work. It's just, I think, Merck failed in this indication with Keytruda, which is a $20 billion drug, the biggest of all. Bristol Myers failed when they combined the 2 leading drugs that they have. Pfizer failed. Everybody fails, and our little company suddenly succeeds. It's really quite fascinating.
Incredibly fascinating. Now, in addition, the company also announced in August that phase 3 Multikine head and neck cancer results were posted on ClinicalTrials.gov. And the release stated that a proposed indication for Multikine will be submitted to the FDA in a license application limited to patients who would be deemed as having a lower risk for tumor recurrence. The standard of care for lower risk for tumor recurrence in advanced primary head and neck cancer patients in surgery, followed by radiotherapy, but not chemotherapy. Now, this was another major milestone in the development of Multikine for CEL-SCI. Can you tell us a bit more about how it felt as a CEO to have those results published?
Well, obviously, it's great, right? So it's only been 30 years for all of us. And my team, by the way, has been with me. But what you just read there, I'm not sure many people actually understand it. So I'm just a simple lawyer and finance guy. I simplify things. Simple. The first treatment for these people is surgery, and then the physician decides based on pathology whether you get radiation only or radiation and chemo. If you're really sick and it's spread a lot, then you get radiation chemo. If you give our drug before, the people who have surgery and radiation have phenomenal survival benefit, but if you add the chemotherapy, it doesn't work. That's basically what it means. So, it's a disease where no one has succeeded, where with no toxicity added, we can add years and years of life. We can define the population. It's not like we're picking out a group of blonde people with blue eyes. No, these are people selected by the doctors, right? Because of their different outcomes. There are different types of patients in a different study. So what I just told you here is we have created something that no one has created before, but it was done in a different way. And when you do something in a different way, it takes longer. You have to explain, you have to justify, etc. Anyway, so that's what we're engaged in, but very, very happy.
What do you feel is the current biggest problem and market opportunity in immunotherapy and cancer treatment that CEL-SCI Corporation is working to address?
Well, think about it this way. Normal drug approval is for dying cancer patients, right? They're called recurrent cancer patients. And everybody knows people who've had the tumor, they've gotten the treatment. Oh, yeah, it's all gone. And 6 months, a year later, no, it's not gone, it's back. And then, starts the journey short or long. Usually people lose and they die from the cancer. And you should do that. We're saying that we should put immunotherapy first. Take the place of surgery, except not replace surgery at this time. So that's the biggest market of all. Everybody diagnosed with this disease should get this, just like they're getting surgery today. Nobody has died yet. Nobody has been cured yet. It's the creation of a whole new market with no competitor. But again, you can't drive this forward on money. No one lasts in this battle with the ups and downs for 30 years if it's for money. It's set up to produce a lot of money for the shareholders because that's how it needs to be. But you must want to make a difference. You must want to change something. Otherwise, you don't have the inner strength required.
Now, speaking of which, in terms of Multikine for head and neck cancer, what can investors look forward to in the next, say, 6 to 12 months?
It could be a lot. It's very, very simple. Every cancer drug that extends survival has historically always been worth billions and billions of dollars. There are a few little signs that could ignite the share price. We're currently valued at $140 million. We, like everybody else in the biotechnology field, absolutely got slaughtered in the last year. Okay, but we have money, we have great data, we're in good shape. If this works out, and it should with this kind of survival data and no safety issues, we should also become a multi-billion-dollar company. But no one in my position can ever give you a fixed time. If they do not buy their stock because they're not telling you the truth.
Interesting. I have just a couple more questions for you,
Sure.
Mr. Kersten. Outside of the short-term timeline, what is the pipeline for the next 3 or 5 years for CEL-SCI Corporation?
But the reality, this drug needs to be brought forward for other cancers also. So, but honestly, you think we're going to do that? What typically happens as a drug is ready to come to market, particularly a cancer drug that has survival, mostly they get bought, right, by big pharma. And maybe it's the right thing, because we did the hard work of developing something new. We are like guerrilla fighters. But once you go into the mainstream, your drug is approved, you need to sell it worldwide, you need to run studies all over the world to develop it for breast cancer, melanoma, cervical, and other diseases. Are we the right guys? I don't think so. So most likely there will be a joint venture or sale to a big company, and that will be left with them. I just want to make sure we have good people looking over their shoulder, because we don't want them suddenly giving it to people who are 5 minutes from death where it's not going to work. It's too late to use immunotherapy in those patients.
Indeed. Well, this has been extremely informative. I want to thank you so much. Could you please let the audience know the best place that they can go for additional company information?
Sure. You can call our office and get some more at 703-506-9460, or you can go to our website, which is www.CEL-SCI.com. CEL-SCI.com. Thank you for giving me that chance.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Kersten. We look forward to monitoring your company's progress and speaking with you again in the future.
Thank you so much, and have a lovely day.
Thank you. You as well.
Bye-bye.